Okay, today we're going to talk a little bit about cleanse rules and what that means for your application and how using cleanse rules can help us be a lot more accurate anytime that you're making scans. So you can see here I'm in my test application, and I've actually gone ahead and created a test application that utilizes Java to kind of show the power of this and what it can do for your application set. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this application. So you can see here, I have 5 critical issues, 1 high. So what I've done here is I've actually gone ahead and created a global cleanse rule for a particular function within this application. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what that looks like. And then I'm going to run a follow-up scan to show what happens if I remove that cleanse rule and then how that interacts with FOD in general. So we can see here in the application, so if I go into administration and I go into my audit tools and I go into data flow cleanse rules, you can see here I've actually gone ahead and set up a rule for Java and so privacy violation category, and I've actually called out the specific package, class, and function of my application to be able to show off what that application does. So really what this is allowing us to do, this is basically saying that this specific area of this application, I implicitly trust, and I don't want to receive issues showing this. This is a piece of code that I'm either inherently trust inside of my organization, or I know that I'm maybe not using it in a vulnerable way. So if I go ahead and edit this, you can see here how I've set this up. So for our testing here, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to cancel that, and I'm actually going to delete the rule. So if I go ahead and I delete it, and I'm going to delete my cleanse rule. So now that cleanse rule is gone. So now the next time I go and scan my application, what's going to happen is that cleanse rule is no longer going to be applied. So now what you're telling the system is that, hey, I remove that level of trust. I no longer trust that piece of code. What I'm going to do is go back into my application. I'm going to go back into my Java test cleanse app. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off a new scan. So you can see here that there's 5 criticals and 1 high. Now what's going to happen when I rescan is that critical issues are going to go up. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off a new scan. And I'm going to utilize my application. So I'm going to pick a Java application. I'm going to hit next, and I'm going to start up the scan. So we're going to go ahead and let this scan run through, and then we'll check back and see how many issues that we have after that scan's completed without the cleanse rules. So now that our scan is completed, we can see now that where there was 5 critical issues, there's now 6. And I know this is a particular, small number of issues from what, that you typically might see, but this is just kind of highlighting the point of the power of cleanse rules and kind of what they can do. So we can see here, if we open this back up and we go out to our issues, where before I was suppressing one of these privacy violations, now it shows both. So while this is kind of a simple test and kind of a simple example here, it just kind of shows what is possible in terms of cleanse rules. Now, I will recommend that it's not necessary for every application to use a cleanse rules. So it is important to understand when to use cleanse rules. And one of the places that it's really best to use them is around common libraries. So if you have a common library that's really used around your organization, or potentially a microservice that's used for many applications, it makes a lot of sense to apply a cleanse rule globally at that point to make sure that you're not continually auditing these issues and have it kind of repeat one after the other. It produces a lot of false positives. The other place that really makes sense is to put them in at an application level for maybe legacy applications that are, maybe prone to some old code, and maybe you're not going to spend as much time on updating those, or maybe you're less concerned with, or maybe they're potentially internal applications that aren't public facing and only are used for specific functions inside of your organization. That's another good place to use them. Now, just to kind of see how they work and kind of go through the process, what I'm going to do here is just go back through and show you here on how this looks and applies. That way, as you're reviewing and doing your auditing of your particular issues, you'll be able to see and how to apply these cleanse rules. So what I'm going to do is just open up another tab here, and I'm going to go ahead and log in. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So if I go over here, and now I'm in my data flow cleanse rules. What I can do is just add that rule back. So I'm going to choose my language. For this application, it is Java. And I'm going to select my package name. And I just want to double check to make sure that's the right one. So it's actually this one that we hid last time. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the package name. And I'm going to put that here. And I already have these documented out. So we want to grab our class. And then we want to grab our function name where this is particularly an issue. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the function. And then I'm going to choose the category. So this one happens to be a privacy violation. And then I'm just going to choose return value here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So now we've actually went through the process of creating that cleanse rule. Now the next time I do a scan, you're going to see those issues tick back down from 7 back to 6. Again, while that may not be a huge dent in your overall application, like I said, this really makes a lot more sense where you're using services across your organization. So that's it for Cleanse Rules today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.